He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall, and I guess you just rhyme with Bat Minute!
Hello, and welcome once again to another week of Bat Minute Forever. This is the podcast that bangs on the door looking for a trick or a treat, and mostly getting tricks with every episode, while we look at Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan. One of the hosts.
Oh my god, this has started off well. I am your other host. I am John Parker, here to regularly make sure you are attracted to the wrong type of person.
That's how we started this podcast, John.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we have here, coming all the way from a wormhole into the sixth dimension, we have the crew of the Speakeasily Hour Minute? What? Well, we have special guests this week, like we do most weeks. But we have Odessa Lil.
Hello.
We have Klingon Vanna White.
Greetings and salutations.
And we have Shecky.
Hello.
Yay.
Wow.
So 2 returning guests and 1 brand new.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm happy to be here.
Oh.
Bat Minute forever.
And ever.
And ever.
It's going to go on forever and ever and ever. We can't stop. We're held hostage here.
Yes.
The actual sequel to Batman and Robin was going to just be called Batman Goes On and On and On and On.
Like the death of his parents over and over and over again.
Oh, you want to talk about the death of Bruce Wayne's parents? Because it's coming up this week, don't you worry.
Yay.
Because we haven't talked about it
I
enough.
with that.
It does come up a lot.
That's the thing, this minute, though, in particular. Well, we do get a little snippet of it, actually, in this minute. But this is minute 88. Which begins with one flying over the cuckoo's nest, and it ends a minute later with a lack of a familiar face, actually. But
Yeah, it's like not quite Napier on the Gat.
Yeah. I've got a weird note about that, too, like just from a random... Oh, we'll get to it when we get to it. But anyway, at the beginning here, we do see the last little snippet of Dick Grayson fleeing the Batcave. Gotta ask you straight off, the Bat, as it is. You guys, like, I've been informed this whole season that apparently back in the 90s, Chris O'Donnell was regarded as being pretty hot to trot. And I do not get the appeal of the guy, but like, have you, like all three of you, have you ever been a Chris O'Donnell stan?
No. No. I always thought that he was, if Chris O'Donnell had started acting right now, I think he could have been, giving Chris Evans a run for his money.
Exactly.
Yeah, generic, sort of boring white guy.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, 100%.
He's got the whole sort of emo earring carny thing happening here.
That was very 90s, though.
Yeah, very
Barry
90s.
and Carney.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so many people.
No, but he's seriously, like, I think, like, this movie is a time capsule of the 90s. Everything about it. You know, the way he looked, how, like, carnival culture, everything. Just, there you go.
But other people, though, who apparently were in line to potentially be Robin. The rumor is, anyway, with these people. Mark Wahlberg, which is like, nah.
That's
I mean,
even
I
worse.
imagine they would have cast him, but it's just like, that would have been ridiculous. Like, just Mark Wahlberg is like, oh, come on, Batman, I'll be your partner. Come on, buddy, yeah. It's just way too whiny a guy.
No,
Fuck
I don't
yeah,
want it.
so
I
good.
don't want it.
Jude Law, who I can't imagine, because Jude Law is like a perpetually balding man. Like, he always seems like he's been losing his hair forever. So it's like, I don't know. I think even maybe back then. Like, I've never seen him with a full head of hair.
And this Robin looks too old already.
Yeah, he does.
Other people, you got Ewan McGregor, which this is around the time of Train Spotting, so I get him being like a hot young actor, but it's like, but he even has the haircut and the earring in Train Spotting. But
It's
And
true.
the
He kind of
world.
looks like Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah, this is like, well, we want the Dick Grayson to have the kind of heroin chic look about him, so yeah, get in that the train spotting guy. By all means.
Heroin chic. Look.
That was a term over here, at least in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, it was here too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Who was it here who's famous for that? It was
Kate Moss.
Kate
Was
Moss?
she?
Yes, Kate
Yeah.
Moss. Kate Moss was the beautiful, heroin chic lady.
Mm. But and then also one whose name is brought up frequently as one of those internet rumors of having auditioned for Robin, but apparently he strongly denies it, is Christian Bale. And
Oh,
He-
whatever.
That would have been awful.
the thing is, he says he has a quote here. Was it because it's been brought up to him multiple times, but like, oh, you could have been Robin in Batman Forever, and he says most of the time I never bother trying to correct anything said about me because I'm an actor, and the whole point is it doesn't matter what's the truth. But I do have to take a stand on that. I would never audition to play Robin. So he seems to be like averse to the idea that he even would have stepped up to even try to be the part. Like he seems to be like the idea repulses him of
It's
being
not
Robin.
that bad of a role.
No, it's okay.
I imagine if you're a guy in the mid '90s too, a young up and coming actor, and you're like they're making another Batman movie, those two big hits, and they're bringing a Robin in, you would be like, yeah, I'll go in for that. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ,
Yeah, he would have did it. Don't get it twisted. He would have did it.
Oh, it's fine.
Definitely.
Big movie franchise like that. Oh yeah.
I've said this
Yeah.
to Niall before, actually, on the show. Like, if I was an actor and, my agent said, oh, they want you to be in this new Batman movie, I wouldn't even read the script. I'd just be like, yeah, okay, cool. Even if it's a piece of shit, who cares?
That's what Val Kilmer did. He didn't read the script. Like afterwards, he was like, yeah, they just said, do you want to play Batman? And I was like, yeah, of course I want to play Batman.
He didn't even see the suit yet.
Maybe that was his request, though. He's like, I'll do it, but can it have nipples?
Oh my god!
And they said
it's so
no.
embarrassing.
No, and they said no, and he's like, come on, nipple.
It was in his
Please.
contract. Nibbles.
And then they had to make a compromise as well. Joel Schumacher was like, okay, you get your nipples, but I get to film your ass constantly.
Yeah.
And that is basically what this movie is, just continuous butt shots.
His butt looks good. It's a good rubber butt.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he was in his prime, so yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think I liked him better in Top Secret. I
Of
would
course you
prefer
did.
Top Secret. Yes.
Well, you just want
You-
more
I'm
hair. More.
No, she wants more
I'll
nerd.
never get over
Sexy nerd.
that nerd. He's more compact. He's not as built and built like a wall.
Why you didn't say
He's just
real
so
genius,
square.
Val Kilmer?
Oh yeah, maybe I want that instead. Can I have that one too?
I like the realistic physique on him though in this, right? Because he's built like he's big, he looks tough, but he doesn't look like he just lives in the gym. He looks like an actual human being at least.
Yeah. He's not Ben Affleck going out and beating up tires with a sledgehammer
Yeah.
or whatever that was about.
Don't get me started on that one.
So sad.
But that's the thing though now. So I think you put up during the week, John, the whole thing, an article saying about Robin is due for a cinematic comeback.
Yeah.
And it's sparked a debate about who would you get to play Robin nowadays against Robert Pattinson? It's I don't know, because it's well, how many child actors do you really know? Is that Stranger Kids guy, Finn
Oh
Wolfhard?
yeah.
And then he's like the one everyone would go for. It's I know who he is, but I don't know many child actors, so it's a bit weird.
I wouldn't cast him though.
Yeah, a younger Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, true.
No.
Because Finn
Just
Wolfhard
the
is in
actual
everything. That's the problem. He's going to be in that new Ghostbusters coming out as well.
Yeah. He's getting to a point now where I'm like, go away for a bit, kid. You know, I don't want to see you all the goddamn time.
Was he the one that wore the tracksuit to the Oscars?
I
Well,
hope
sure.
so. That's amazing.
Yeah, he wore a tracksuit, and we're like, okay.
Well, when I went to...
Cool.
This is going to sound really weird. Once when I went to Buckingham Palace...
Okay.
Really?
Have you back at Buckingham
Have
Palace?
tea with the Queen.
No, Prince Charles was there. But basically, Mick Jagger was getting knighted while I was there.
This doesn't make your story sound any more this is more believable.
But it's believable.
Yeah, totally.
Mick Jagger was getting knighted. And I loved this, right? Well, actually, I hate him for one reason. He was supposed to come and sit next to me when he was done, but he just went home instead. Piece of crap. But anyway, he went up to get knighted. He had his suit and everything on, and he just had a pair of sneakers on. And I thought, white sneakers.
Oh, it's good to be comfy.
He's getting in that.
He was
geek
probably already 70 by then.
He would have been, yeah, pretty old.
Well, no, it's just there was one thing about when you said someone had tea with the queen. So there's a saying, tea with the queen, because you're gonna cut this out anyway, but it's gonna be funny. Tea with the queen is a euphemism for when two gay guys have sex in front of a Yorkie.
You cannot cut that part out.
That's staying in. Staying in.
Okay.
Days.
I just love that's. Oh, they have a different term for each kind of dog. Like,
Well, I guess because Yorkies are very kind of like prim and proper. They look like a queen's dog or something. I don't know, but yeah.
That should be a corgi. They're having sex in front of a corgi.
Yeah, Korg, whatever that thing is, the little short-legged dog, that thing.
Yeah, that's the corgis.
it's just the fact, like, how often does that happen as well? They're like, we need to come up with a term for this because
It keeps happening.
It's every damn day now.
Yeah. Unless you guys get a kick out of that. So. But it has to be. I guess.
Ask about tea with the czar.
No, but it's specifically too. I guess. Kind of a corgi. So,
my god.
in any case, I don't think that they would want to add Robin to a Batman, especially this Robert Pattinson, because he's kind of I guess he's not young, but I don't know how. I don't know. I just don't think that nowadays Robin.
It's like too homoerotic already. Like if you throw a Robin in there, it's just like, yeah.
I
two
like
guys.
that part about it though. That's cool. I just think that Batman needs to be quite a lot older.
Well, yeah, that's the thing though, because if the Robert Pattinson film is following in the kind of vein of The Long Halloween, which is supposed to be the rumor, the sequel to The Long Halloween did have Robin come into it, but he was like a young kid. Like, he was literally about, like, 11 or 12 or something. And so I can imagine, that's the thing, could you do that in a movie? Where it's like, yeah, this 34-year-old man is now putting a small child in danger just because, like, yeah, I'm lonely or whatever. Because I guess, well, it won't be as homoerotic that way, but it'll also seem more like, oh, this guy's a nut job. You need to get this kid away from him, for Christ's sake.
Well, it was always sort of child endangerment anyway. So.
Yeah. And maybe it would turn into a thing like in Archer where Pam and Cheryl just end up in everything, even though they keep trying to shut them out. The Robin could do that.
It was actually said though, like a couple of years back, and it was one of those things that just never would have happened because the internet would have erupted with just outrage and whatnot. But like, there's an actress at the minute who's gender fluid, Bex Taylor Klaus.
Oh, I love them. Yeah,
they were in the Scream TV show, and if you were just sort of, if people were just, the general public was open-minded enough to be like, there's a gender fluid person is playing Dick Grayson. She had, or they had, big Dick Grayson energy about them. I totally would have accepted Bex Taylor Klaus as Dick Grayson at some point. She's, they're like 25 now, so it would just be the Chris O'Donnell thing all over again, where it's like, well, a bit old for this, isn't it? But yeah, that would have been my pitch about like 4 or 5 years back. Like, if the world could accept this, then go right ahead. But it would have just been like an internet storm waiting to happen.
I love the idea of a gender fluid. It's really beautiful.
That'd be great for Robin, especially. That fits the character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's, I don't know, they'll probably now be like, Finn Wolfhard. Yeah, so he's that one kid everybody knows.
Finn Wolfhard was made for porn with that name. I'm sorry.
If there isn't a porn actor who's ripping that name off, they should be doing it.
What's the kid's name?
Seriously.
Finn Wolfhard.
Finn Wolfhard.
Stranger Things.
I never watched the show.
Oh my god.
It is
Sorry.
genuinely good. It's popular for a reason, which is rare.
That's
fine.
Yeah.
I just, never.
You don't like scary stuff.
It's not. It's like a little bit scary, though, isn't it? It's not like
No, it's not that. It's just You know, I've always been kind of against kids, you know, going out and doing stuff. It's like, you're a kid. Go play with your Legos.
So this is why you're so anti-Robin then, Shecky. He's like, oh, goddamn kid, get it back and play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't stand angsty kids. It's like, shut up.
I love the way
totally against it.
I love the way we're nearly 20 minutes in, and I have hit the first bullet point of my notes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yes.
To be honest,
we've been a great show. Bye.
That was part of the reasoning. It's like, well, there's not a lot to talk about. We need some people on who we know we can chat to. Have you gone through the people who were going up for the Robin role now? Are you finished?
The only other person I had who was of minor interest was Renoli Santiago. Oh. And it was just of interest to us because he claims that through his talks to play Robin, ended up getting him a role in Hackers, which of course now has some sort of notorious connection with Batman for so God knows what reason.
Oh yeah, the makers of Hackers don't like us.
Yeah.
Why?
They claimed copyright on some of our YouTube content, even though all we did at most was maybe say the word Hackers.
What? Screw that noise.
Screw them. Screw you, Hackers. I liked your movie. As you mentioned at the start there, you know, Dick, he's running away from home like a little kid. And in some ways, I'm on his side, and I totally get it, you know, what he wants to do. But the way the movie frames it, it's totally like, oh, he's having a teenage tantrum.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a bit dumb. We should be siding with this guy in a way. Like, to a point. Maybe we don't want him to go and get revenge, because Batman's right, it'll leave him in a dark place. But we also, you know, we sympathize with him. We want to be on his side. We want to help him. But when you see this, you're just like, oh, that's it. Run away, you piece of crap.
He's hard to sympathize with because what he's actively doing is like, it's not so much that he wants to bring Two-Face to justice and Batman's turning him away. Yeah. It's that he wants to murder him. Like he is, I want to go and kill this man.
Well, he's been through a massive trauma. So whatever he does, we have to understand because people who have just gone through massive trauma act out in whatever way they're going to. But for me, I was like, what the is he thinking leaving that amazing palace? You know, and he had like a servant and all this food and amazing furniture. Like that was the part where I was just like, I don't get you, man.
It ain't all about the money.
No, it's about revenge.
Yeah.
Cold, calculated, sweet revenge.
Plus he is like a carny kid. So he might just be like, if the room doesn't smell like elephant dung, I'm not comfortable.
Like this. What is it? This thing is too comfortable. You know, it's too soft. It's too soft.
It could be like
soft.
You could have even had a scene of like Alfred showing him his room, and then he's like, "Can you get me like a bale of hay up here?" Because like,
wow, a bale of hay.
He's like, I've usually always slept on hay with like one pillow, and that was me. That was the way we did things.
Yeah,
I sleep in a suitcase. I can't sleep in this bed. I can't possibly sleep in this bed.
Oh, it'd be great if he opened his suitcase and there was a bale of hay in there. It's my personal hay.
This is what I do, people.
Alfred would have totally accommodated that.
Yeah, it's true.
Alfred was like the best part of waking up.
Yeah.
Was Alfred in your cup?
Alfred in your cup.
Sorry.
I mean, who doesn't want an Alfred?
I don't know. I'd find it weird. I'd find it kind of creepy.
Oh, I would 100%. I could not deal with a butler. Like I would just. I don't even like because my dad, as he employs like a house cleaner, and she comes around every Wednesday. So every time I'm visiting him, the house cleaner comes, and I just don't know what to do because it's just like so awkward. You just feel like I guess I have to leave, but like I know it's a perfectly valid job, and it's like, yeah, it was, nothing against house cleaners in general, but it's just when I'm there, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I feel guilty for being here because you're trying to
clean around me. I will lay here while you clean around me.
So were you one of those people that had to clean the house before the house cleaner got there?
Yes, that is, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I have a house cleaner and I do that. Yeah.
I never understood that. My mother was like, clean your room. And I'm like, what? But the house cleaner is coming. And she's just like, clean your room.
It's embarrassing, damn it.
Floor,
and I'm like, you don't want her to know how we live? Are you lying to her? What do you care?
Yeah.
You've got to
I
put
have
on a
clear
pretense.
off all my crap off of the counters and stuff.
Reminded me though of a mutual friend of me and John, Joe Spencer. He was on a reality TV show in the UK. I can't remember what you called it, but it was basically
it was. Oh, what was it called?
It was a kind of thing like you invited people around your house and had to hold. It was like Come Dine With Me, but it was just a rip-off of Come Dine With Me.
Yeah, but there was no eating.
Yeah, it was just I think they had to stay overnight, and you just had to be like accommodate them basically. And it was kind of like if you were running a hotel, they would rate you on your service and that kind of thing. And I remember
Sounds horrible.
Yeah, it sounds so stupid.
Like, get the out of my house.
I think it was one of those things that was voted like one of the worst TV shows of the last decade or something like that.
It was great when he was on it because he just had fun.
Oh, they're good. It's like I would be like completely a show host. Be like, yeah, here's my collection of like monkey-faced dolls. Yay, you know.
Well, that's basically what he did.
Yeah, he was coming in like he didn't clean for them. He's just like, I just want to see them. This is my natural habitat. This is how I live. So they were showing you like, you'd have like, you see like pubes in the shower and stuff like this. So you just, like,
And his underpants were like just laying around the bathroom.
See that? Yes. All of this. Yes.
But I can understand his point too. 'Cause he's like, well, this is what it's like all the time. So I'm not going to lie to these people. So get used to it.
No one should see how you really live except your partner, and even then, you should hide it from them.
Never.
I loved
Hide it
it
from
when
them as long as you can.
I loved it when the guest said, "Oh, it smells a bit strange in here," and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the pet rats. He's just got them like."
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
And he'd covered his television in foil, you know, like metal foil, because he was like, "Oh, it looks glamorous."
That's amazing.
Wow.
But then talking about glamour, we get here Bruce Wayne's living room. We get a little cut into his mid-date with Chase Meridian here. And
Nobody's even gone to
name.
look.
What a great name.
It's a brilliant name. But nobody's even gone to look for Dick. Nobody cares.
She's looking for
Why would you look for Dick when she's got Chase Meridian there?
She's on the prowl. She
Like,
is.
seriously,
She spends this whole movie horny.
I hope that Joel Schumacher was the one that gave her that name, you know, because that is such a gay name. Chase Meridian. Whatever.
Sounds like a bank.
Yeah, what do you guys make of Chase then? Because when every other time in the past I watched this, I was like, oh, she's a boring character, blah, blah, blah. But going through minute by minute, I've actually come round to her, and I like her because it is, despite her being the love interest and all about the sex,
Yeah.
it does also take a different approach, though, because she is, she's well-read, you know, she's educated businesswoman, she's very successful, but she's all about the sex. And that's an interesting combination to me. Normally you're one or the other in film.
Nah, give me the sex.
No, that's a good point. It's just that it's not always believable in her character. I wish it was. But, well, quick question. So I called her a psychologist, but is she actually a psychiatrist? Is she a doctor?
I think she's a criminal psychologist. I think that's the weird thing. They bring her to Gotham to study Two-Face, I think. And she, beyond the beginning of the movie, she never mentions Two-Face again. She's like, oh yeah, they brought me here for that, but I'm all about Batman.
Yeah,
about that.
she shifts focus.
That bat penis.
But this movie's all about bat butt.
Yeah.
Bat butt.
She's
me that bad
so
butt.
beautiful. So.
She is really pretty in this movie.
Bruce has invited her over because he's got something important to tell her. He's married. No, wait, no, that's the other film. That's the last one. But it turns out Chase also has something to say. But we don't get there quite yet because the doorbell goes. And Alfred leaps into action.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll say, though,
Halloween.
Hey!
but just like, I think this is we got a new angle on the Wayne living quarters here. And I do love this living room because it's like some of the random crap he has around. Like, it seems to have a giant crystal ball behind the, like, is this how Batman sees what's going on in the city? Like, he gets up and starts waving his hands in front of that thing. Like, oh.
That's awesome if he does.
Yeah, as he's crying, like what's happening?
Some weird Svengali bat.
Yeah. It's like Doctor Strange meets Batman over here with this guy.
He uses it to focus the lasers.
Maybe that's how Alfred communicates with him when he's out. He's just like, "Oh, I don't have the radio yet working, sir, but my crystal ball will let me see what you're up to." Alfred's got a little stepladder to do the, "Oh, show me, Master Wayne."
He drops some acid first.
Did you guys like Alfred as a character? The actor who played him?
Oh,
I think it will be for the purpose, like throughout this show, like we've had to grow to love him because he's here for all 4 movies.
Oh, I've always loved him though. He's one of the through
too.
lines. Like even when you come out of the Tim Burton era and into these Schumacher ones, he is really holding down the fort. He's keeping things on track.
That's true.
But also that we have, we get a good look at this fireplace, and this again throughout the whole movie, there's a whole recurring motif of statues that are a single person holding stuff up, which is taken to mean like, oh, it's like Batman he has the weight of the world on his shoulders and whatnot. And then there's that one scene where you see when Dick comes into the frame, we see 2 statues holding a single thing together, and it's like, oh, that's a nice little bit of symbolism there. But this particular fireplace really reminded me of in the Jungle Book when the whole King Louis dance sequence, and then the whole temple begins to fall down, and he has to they knock out one of the the columns, and he jumps in and has to hold it up himself. Looks exactly like that. I loved it.
Didn't even think about what the hell.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I wasn't even remotely there, but that's great. That's symbolism.
That's good for you that you saw that. Yeah, no, it's kind of like a scantily clad figure holding up the fireplace, right?
Yeah,
you only see one side of it. I'm just reviewing the video now.
We also have, and I know it's not, but there's a little thing on the table which looks like a little knight on a horse. I remember way back in '89, there was a scene where Bruce Wayne, I think it was when Alfred's telling him like, "Oh, Miss Vale says she'll be a half hour late, sir," and Bruce is like, "I'm not meeting Vicky tonight." There was in the background, there was a little knight on a horse. I was like, I wonder if it's the same statue, or it's supposed to be like that's a through line that Joel Schumacher picked up on. Like, oh, give me one of the little statue they had in the '89 movie. It's still there. He's still got it rocking around the house.
Oh, he just moved it.
Well, he didn't. Alfred would have. Bruce doesn't give a damn about this house.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, it's true.
He just cares about the basement.
Yeah. It makes Alfred look after everything. He has to do all the cleaning, the decorating. It's basically Alfred's mansion.
That must be rough. Yeah, right now, if Bruce Wayne decides to do anything with this mansion, it's like, well, technically, sir, I've spent more time here than you have, haven't I? Like,
Squatters' rights.
What if Alfred's used that to get laid, though, a couple of times? He's like, I do technically live in a mansion. And it's pretty much my mansion. Just so you know.
I never really thought of Alfred as a sexual being, but thanks for putting that in my mind.
Yeah, they delve into it in the next movie. So
yeah, him and Peggy, and gonna have to find out how she got that name. Speaking of Alfred, though, in the original script, he was supposed to have a little bit here. It kind of ties into the Alfred we saw in the last movie, because he comes in as Bruce and Chase are trying to, get amorous, and he says, "Oh, it might be a trifle acidic. If you prefer, I can open the Rothschild." He's talking about the wine. And Bruce says,
about the bankers.
It's like, get them around. Real party will start then. You won't want to be here for those kind of parties, miss. Then Bruce says, Alfred, the wine is perfect. The meal is perfect. And then under the table, Bruce is unsuccessfully trying to shoo Alfred away. Alfred says, and the young lady enjoyed her salad. And Chase says, delicious. Thank you, Alfred. Bruce says, don't you have to check on Dick or something? And Alfred says, I don't believe so. Oh! Yes, sir, of course, right away. And Bruce says, take your time. And Alfred gets shooed out of the room.
So he doesn't answer the door to trick-or-treaters.
Well, he does eventually, but just not at that point. Although that really stands in line with, remember last movie? That was, because this is like, old cock blocker Alfred's back.
Yeah, cock blocker Alfred.
That was like in the last movie when Bruce was talking to Selena outside Shrek's department store and Alfred was beeping the horn to get him to come over for his lift and stuff. I was like, Alfred, read the room, dude. Jesus Christ.
No. He's got to look out for his master, you know. He doesn't want him falling in with the wrong woman.
He doesn't want it to get complicated, you know?
Yeah.
Like if he prefers the one-night stands.
Hit it and quit it, sir.
He was the one who let Vicky Vale into the Batcave, though. So I don't know if it's just that Alfred has a real, like, I really think you should have hooked up with Vicky Vale, sir. And now any other relationship is like, I won't stand, I will not put up for it.
Give Miss Vale a call, damn it.
Constantly leaving the address book lying open on at the V's and stuff.
How did that get there?
I can see it.
Totally.
These kids at the door now, though, as well. Right, these are some top-notch, non-copyrighted costumes.
Yeah.
Which I thought they were very fancy. When I was a kid, I don't know if this is an English thing, right, or what, but everyone seemed to do it. I was a witch, right? Mm-mm. But it was basically, you just wear a trash bag and stick a hat on your head.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
And you carry a broom. Yeah.
I think we forked out for a nose and little fingers you could put on.
Oh, those plastic fingers.
Witch
like
fingers.
Yeah. I was always a witch. I think that says a lot about me now.
I wonder if that's got anything to do with me hosting this show now, is that I always wanted to dress up as the Joker when I was a kid, and my mum repeatedly made me dress as a witch.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know now if this is all a real bit of like, you, I'll talk about the Joker all I want now, Mom.
Some forced cross-dressing is what that sounds like.
Yeah.
So you were both forced to be witches? Was like witches the British like equivalent of a ghost for
yeah.
for
I
American
think
kids?
so. I think so, right? I wasn't forced. I wanted to be, but I would say I saw a lot more people being witches than ghosts.
Huh.
What that is true, though, because the ghost is another cheap option. So why wouldn't they have? Why wouldn't the ghost have been a transcontinental kind of thing?
Because you have to cut holes in a sheet.
And no one's going to do that. Like,
No.
noise. They're
You
working
can
on my
cut-
sheets.
You can cut a bin bag open. That's fine.
What's a bin bag?
That's a trash bag.
Oh,
Plastic
trash bag. Oh, bin
thrown
bag.
in.
Okay. Yeah.
I mixed it up. I used the American term first and then went English.
Oh!
Yeah, so I was like, So
like a
one thing that I
bag.
noticed about the kids. I'm sorry, you were saying something?
Don't make me repeat that.
No, what did you say? Now I want to hear it.
I said it's like a ball bag.
Oh Lord. I mean, yeah, you could use that. No, I was noticing as the kids were leaving, and Alfred was saying, this is later, but I'm jumping a little bit. But one of the kids had a pumpkin on its head. What the hell, man?
yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think that's in the next
wild.
minute, but yeah. But what
I'm
even
sorry,
are
but-
these kids? Like, I'm looking at the screenshot here, and it's like, one kid's got like a white thing on its head with a Z.
Yeah, it's like he's been attacked by Zorro or something. I don't know what's going on.
I give you the ZZ on both cheeks.
Yeah.
The kid in the middle, is it supposed to look like that creature's eaten him and he's trying to
Yeah.
crawl out of its mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like inside a werewolf.
Oh, I thought I got real vibes of Slimer from that thing. It
Oh,
looked
okay.
like a non-copyrighted Slimer.
We're all on different wavelengths because I thought it was a gargoyle. Or, as you all remember from season 1, a grotesque, not a
Yeah.
gargoyle.
Grotesque.
And then the one on the right seems to be like, it's some sort of zombie old man with a bird next to his face or something. Is that? Oh wait, no, that's the horn of the other kid. Oh right, I misread what
Yeah.
that thing was completely.
I thought that was just another gargoyle.
I thought it was like a zombie St. Francis of Assisi or something. This kid was supposed to be.
Too deep.
That
These
famous character.
costumes are unrecognizable, but they look like they have pretty high production value.
Yeah.
Also,
Yes.
who the hell is driving their kids out to Wayne Manor to trick or treat? He lives on an estate. Where are his neighbors at? And there was like a ton of kids, and they just walk out of the estate. I mean, I know I'm going for. Where are these kids going? Where are their parents? What is going on? Like Gotham is supposed to be a crap hole, you know, and yet this
Yeah.
kid is like, these kids are like running around. I was took me right out of the movie.
Neighborhood.
Unless it could be that Gotham is such a crap hole that it's like the only place that's safe to trick or treat is to go up to the fucking fancy rich people's houses.
Yeah,
In
like,
my
Plus them up there.
Get full-size candy bars.
Yeah, not those fun-size mini little things.
Yeah, cheap bastard.
In my experience of trick-or-treating, though, the rich person's house, they're always the one who gives you the least.
Yeah. That's how you stay rich. You don't fork out.
You don't give out chocolates. No, it's always the normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill house. They give you good stuff. There's always a weirdo who gives you, like, health food. And then the rich people in the big houses give you nothing.
Raisins.
I let
There's
them
always a
take
box of
as
raisins.
much as they can get in their little fists in one big scoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like reach in there with your claw, pull a big fistful out.
Yeah.
That's it.
I always hated the people that drop the candy into your bags. No, let me grab it.
Yeah, no, I sit there and let them rifle through it. They pick out the ones they like the most. I don't care.
I'll tell you when I've had enough.
No, and then the poor kids that come later, like, well, you should have got her sooner, kid. This is what I got left. Enjoy.
Yeah, it's all just leftover green apple flavored things and raisins.
Bubble gum, that really
licorice.
crappy bubble gum.
These are all the flavors I like, but okay.
Sorry.
I love licorice.
Ew, sorry.
Left. Yeah.
The kid on the left, though, that strikes me as I almost had to double check because it's such a kind of Burton-y design. Like is this like a little olive branch to Tim Burton? Because I could have swore it was like that's one of Boogie's boys from Nightmare Before Christmas, right?
That's what I thought too.
That didn't exist yet, did it?
No, it would have. I think that was 93 and this is 95, so it would have.
93.
Yeah, would have been like a nice little bit of production overlap. So I was kind of disappointed. But maybe that's what they wanted to do. And it's like, yeah, you can't. That's Disney property. No. You can't go up and just take one of their images out of anything. So, although I'm kind of slightly disappointed, and I'm always a little disappointed with when directors don't go for the little in jokes that they could have. Because like Joel Schumacher, he directed The Lost Boys. You could have had these kids be the vampires from The Lost Boys or something. Like
that'd be funny, but what kids in 95 would be dressed as the Lost Boys?
I think you would get some young kids. Like you could just make it, little flat top, bleached haircut, and the trench coat, and then big obvious vampire fangs, so people get that it's a vampire. Or something.
Adorable. That would be so adorable.
Yeah, but let's think of the time. Right, hang on. I was born 86, right? So 95. I'm trick or treating. I wouldn't have known what the Lost Boys was, and I watched 80s films.
Yeah. They didn't let you watch horror. Was that considered a horror movie?
It probably was. I was allowed to watch whatever I wanted, though. My parents didn't care. I was like 6, and my favorite films were Terminator and Aliens. Yeah.
Okay. When I was a kid, I went to a double feature with my mother in the theater of Lost Boys and Hellraiser.
Oh.
Wow.
And my mother would just be like, I'm sitting here traumatized. Mom's all, just turn your head. Is that
why you won't watch horror movies with me now?
No. As I got older, I'm just like, I don't like horror movies. I don't want to feel that way. When I was a kid, oh yes, they used to watch. They never spared us any of that stuff. They used to watch all kinds of horror movies when we were kids. It was horrible.
That's the thing. Me watching Aliens is one thing, but Hellraiser, that's not just like scary. The themes in that are dark.
When any of the sex scenes would happen, it's like, turn your head, close your eyes. All I hear is like. In the theater, all I hear is like the weird slooshing sound of like chains ripping through flesh, and so my mind is filling it in, and my mom's like, "Don't watch that."
Your mind's probably even worse.
Yes, and I'm like, "Thanks, Mom."
The thing is, at least Lost Boys is like, there's quite a long periods of reprieve, and at least there's other kids in that too. You got like the Coreys and stuff, who apparently were also up for the role of Robin. But like, Hellraiser's just like, you're gonna have to keep your head turned for the whole movie.
I enjoyed Lost Boys. I thought that was fun when I was watching that. But Hellraiser, oh wow. But I watched it later in life and was able to appreciate it. But yeah, when I was younger, they did not spare us at all. It was crazy. So
Cenobites are really scary.
They are. That Chatterbox one? Oh, freaked me out. Anyway.
The thing is, if not, the vampires from Lost Boys these kids are dressed up as, would have had one have a little short sleeve shirt and a tie and glasses and a little flat top, and he's Michael Douglas from Falling Down. Just get that little joke in there, Joel. But
or the cast, they could have shown up as the cast of DC Cab.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Mr. T. You could have Mr. T there.
That was great. Speaking of which, we have got to do that for our show. Just saying.
Yeah, you're right. And another Gary Busey for us.
See, we watched we might have brought this up to you before. We watched DC Cab once, expecting it to be terrible.
It's great.
We were like, let's put this bad movie on and get drunk and laugh at it. And me and Niall were so into it, we just sat in silence watching this amazing movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Also produced by John Peters, the guy who kind of brought Batman 89 to life. So it's like, there's a lot of little tie-ins there.
Everything's connected.
But within the minute here, Alfred seems to be quite happy to see these trick-or-treaters.
Yeah,
and then
he loves it.
Yeah, and I really wish, though, he would, like, come out and he'd be like, oh, I've got some treats for you. Ooh, ooh! And he just have, like, a hand erupt from his chest or something. Like he's got one of those elaborate setups or something.
I would love it. I'd love it. Well, someone who's not been kept away, of course, we see Chase again, and she reveals that her past has been full of bad relationships with the wrong dudes. But Bruce has changed all of that. Somehow, we haven't really seen how. They barely have a connection in this damn film.
They haven't, and then he has like a flashback. It's like, and I'm like, this is the time that you choose. I know you're not choosing to have, but like the roses fall and hit the floor. And immediately he's taken back, and I'm like, "Girl, you need to like talk to somebody." And she's there, and like she's like, "Yes, let's talk about this." And I'm just like, "Really?"
Well, she's a professional, but she says something really disturbing before that flashback happens. She says that she's always gone for the wrong kind of guys, and then she says that's why she's in the line of work she's in.
Yeah.
That's not a good combination.
It's like, if I really like troubled people, so if I become a psychiatrist, I can hook up with all of the nut jobs I want.
Right. She's
totally
suggesting that she's attracted to all her patients.
She gets around.
That's definitely Harlequin. You're right. Yeah. You're right, Vanna. Definitely, they should have set her up to be Harlequin.
I like the flowers falling though, in a way, because she knocks the flowers over, they tumble to the floor, and it kind of triggers Bruce. It gives him like a terrible memory flashback. It's like serious PSD.
Yeah.
PSD? PTSD.
I got it.
Yeah.
Stumbling
The thing
over.
is, though, like, the rose is falling. I know that apparently Joel Schumacher originally approached Seal to use Kiss from a Rose in what he called a love scene in the movie. And I can only assume it would have come here. Like, Chase Meridian was coming in and Bruce has got Seal blaring as part of his seduction methods or something.
No, I want it to be when they're making love, and it'll be like The Room, when it's like, you are my rose.
That would make sense too, because remember we were saying there was, in the original script, there's also a scene where Chase Meridian bangs Batman and he's got the mask on. And it's like, you could have had Kiss from a Rose blaring there as well, I guess.
So the roses fall, right? He flashes back, and I tell you, that was the longest minute ever, because as a DC comic book fan, as a Batman fan, as a Batman movie fan, if I have to see his parents get shot one more time,
For real.
oh my, I was like, really? Stop it already. Stop it.
It's like, yeah, we get it. We know they died.
Every
this, though, is
single iteration.
It was like an alley. I get it. Was it the Joker? Was it not the Joker? Was it Joe Chill? Was it not Joe Chill? Were they at Zorro? Yes, they were at Zorro. Stop it.
And this version's the most confusing, as we've talked about, because you see the gunman, and it's clearly trying to make out that it's Jack Napier from '89, but you don't see him.
I think, though, that might be like, one, could be like, oh, we don't want to have to pay to get that actor back. Two, it's also kind of tied into like, well, Bruce avenged his parents against Jack Napier, but he does say, like, you'll go out into the night looking for another face and another until the pain goes away. So now it doesn't really matter who the face of the killer was. Yeah. It's just,
No. Did you know though?
That when it snows, your eyes become white.
No. So, did you know that Bruce Wayne or Batman did not kill the Joker in the first one, in the first movie? They retconned it in the TV shows, the CW TV shows during their Crisis on Infinite Earths. You see.
Oh, that's right. The Knox.
Yeah, they flash. They flash to that that Earth, the Earth in which the Batman universe takes place, the movie universe, Tim Burton, all these movies take place, and you see Knox reading a newspaper saying that Batman has captured the Joker again, and he's in Arkham. So no,
so dumb.
They did not kill him. It is continuity now. He did not kill him.
He looked pretty damn dead when we saw him last time.
I know, right? He fell. Like, how was he gonna live? But anyway, so I thought that was hilarious when I saw that. I was like, well, okay, that's kind of a retcon.
Here's a weird thing though that I randomly picked up on this like a couple of months back because in the credits it doesn't say Jack Napier for this character. It says the shooter, which could be. There's a whole thing where, like, apparently Jack Nicholson gets a cut every time you mention the name Jack Napier. So, like, because he originated that character, so he gets a little slice. But I was just like, oh, that's kind of a weird thing, but whatever. And then I noticed in, I don't know if have you seen Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining? It's very, very, very good. But you'll know that this won't get into anything too spoilery. But because you do see in the trailers and stuff, they do have flashbacks to the first movie, but it's different actors. So there's a woman, it's the woman from Starry Eyes is playing, Shelley Duvall and stuff. There's a guy there playing Dick Halloran. And at one point, you do get to meet Jack Torrance in the movie. But weirdly, in the credits, he's not called Jack Torrance, he's called the bartender. And it's like, oh, it's kind of weird. Like two guys coming back to play previous Jack Nicholson parts where they had to change the name of the character for whatever reason. And it's even crazier when you watch it in Dr. Sleep, because the first time I was like, oh, it's a guy who looks a little bit like Jack Nicholson. That's something. And then I found out it's not just anybody. It's Henry Thomas. Elliot from E.T. is playing Jack Torrance. Not just any Jack Torrance, but the Jack Nicholson version of Jack Torrance. And my mind just exploded. I was like, what? Friggin' Elliot is Jack Nicholson? What's going on?
Crazy.
I was absolutely amazed by that. But I do recommend everyone to watch Dr. Sleep. It's actually a genuinely pretty good movie. So, all right. So yeah, one thing. Yeah, you get the whole business of the roses fall. Weird though, because Bruce Wayne leaves roses for his parents' death, for his parents' grave. But like, this should be like. Particularly, too, in the 89 movie, there was also popcorn dropped. It could have had him and Chase were sharing popcorn, and the popcorn went down. That's what triggers him. No, it was Halloween night. He's got her around. He's like, I've rented Chud. I've rented, Chud 2, Bud the Chud. I've got Critters 3. I've got everything here.
So I'm gonna get a little blue. But again, but also pearls fall from her neck. So. Yeah. I'm just saying, maybe there's a love scene in their future and he has PTSD.
The pearl necklace involved.
You know what, though? The thing that bothers me about the pearls is that, they're supposed to be rich. If that was a real pearl necklace, each one of those pearls would have been knotted, and every single playback of the killing of the parents comes with the pearl necklace getting ripped and all the pearls coming loose.
Yep.
That woman would not have been wearing a fake necklace of pearls, and
that's like a cheap Marge Simpson one.
Yeah. That's not what real pearl necklaces do.
But it's dramatic. It's the drama.
It is dramatic. It is.
That's a perfect Klingon
observation.
I love it. I love that she always brings that kind of reality to things like the costume details, because you're right. You're 100% right. Like, that is such an oversight, and it was so totally written by a man.
And it's done over and over and over. And it's just like everybody has the pearls bouncing off the floor, and it's just like, you don't buy a $5,000, like strand of pearls and then put them all on the continuous strand. Each one gets knotted on there.
That's the thing too. Not only was it written by a man, but that whole pearl thing was a direct thing from Frank Miller. So like, it's not just any man, but a very heavily, openly misogynist man.
That man.
That man.
That man. That misogynistic man.
But yeah, I mean, I'm done with this minute. If you guys have anything else you want to bring up about this particular minute, or should we move on to the next? Now that we're over an hour into this.
Sorry, we tend to be long-winded. I apologize.
Yeah, we can move
We
on.
do as well.
I would
Yeah.
love to make myself a cup of coffee, though.
We will head off into the dark, dark night. Before we do go, would you all like to tell people where they can find your show and whatnot online? Chat among yourselves. Who's going to go? Who's going to take the reins and advertise?
Odessa Lil.
Yeah, that's Odessa. She's the mastermind. Come on. We're the henchmen.
Wow,
Hench
that's
people.
saying a lot. All right, if you'd like to hear more from us, check out Speakeasily versus the 80s or Speakeasily Hour Minute podcast, and you can find out more on speakeasily.tv. Find us on Facebook, join our special People's Club, which is Speakeasily Hour Minute podcast, the group on the Facebook.
Lots of poop jokes.
Lots.
So many poops.
Bring your toilet paper that you've been massively hoarding.
Yes, we could use it because I've been out the window.
It's what they did in the old plagues back in the day, and like no one had a problem with it then, so why have a problem with it now?
Well, do check that out, everybody, and come and speak to us on Facebook. We're on the Bat Minute Listeners Cave and Twitter at Bat Minute. But Niall, it is time for the finale of the Monday episode.
Yeah, this season we pose a riddle to the guests in theme with Batman Forever. So I do have a riddle for you guys if you want to have a crack at it. So, riddle me this. Every night I am told what to do, and every morning I do what I'm told, and yet I cannot escape your scold. What am I?
An alarm clock.
Ah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Really? I thought that was too obvious.
No, it's usually the most obvious answer for a riddle.
I can never get them. That's
He's going to
amazing.
have to do another one now.
No, that was
Like, because
Well,
that's
week.
right, because
Alarm clock!
We'll stick with it.
Sorry. I didn't mean to answer it so fast. I thought you all would have got it. I don't know.
Oh, well, on that bombshell, we will head off. So do join us again on Wednesday for more Bat Minute Forever.
next time, holy villainous visit. A solitary sentry stands by his entry and dispenses sweets to kids from the street. But while kids are warned to be wary of too much confectionery, who's conducting a secret surveillance of Bruce's senior secretary? Find out Wednesday. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.